Okay. Hey, what's up, boss? Okay, so while we wait on somebody to come on, whether they say Jesus is God, prophet, or neither, let me show you here. Let me show you here something that because a lot of us believe, there's a lot of Christians, right? Actually, let me ask you guys, why do you believe Christianity is true, right? Anyone who's listening that's a Christian, put in the chat and say why do you believe Christianity is true? Why do you believe it? Before I say this, yeah, man, you said because Jesus is God, but how do you know? Well, me and you know because we're believers, but how do you? Is that your premise? You're saying because he's God, that's why I believe Christianity is true. Is that what you're saying? Let me show you something. So look, in Deuteronomy, he said, "How do we know?" It says, "How do you guys know? How do we know what for a fact that Christianity is true?" So that way I
Oh,
understand the question.
God.
Well, I asked the question earlier. So are you asking how do we know Jesus is God, or how do we know that Christianity is true?
What are you discussing now?
I asked them why do they believe Christianity is true for Otis and Dead Man.
Oh, okay. While we wait on them, I wanted to finish what I was saying. So, what was it? 2 Samuel 6:9. Yeah. How can the ark of the Lord come to me? You have that?
Yeah, I
9.
have the same. Yeah. All right, 2 Samuel 9.
6:9.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is 6.
verse 9.
Mhm. And David was afraid of the Lord that day, and he said, "How can the ark of the Lord come to me?" And so here, where David says, "How can the ark of the Lord come to me?" Then when we have Elizabeth saying the same type of thing, like what could make what could make or why is what has blessed me to for the mother of the Lord to come to me. So it's a very like kind of similar saying when Mary arrives at Elizabeth's house. And then if you go down to verse 13 on this one, it says, "And when those who bore the ark of the Lord had gone 6 steps, he sacrificed an ox and flattered, and David danced before the Lord with all his might. And David was wearing a linen ephod. So David and all the house of Israel brought up the ark of the Lord with shouting and with the sound of the horn." So basically, David is rejoicing because he has the ark of the Lord in his presence. And again, this is just a small little connection I made, but the ark of the Lord is with Ebed Edom for 3 months, and then Mary stays with Elizabeth for 3 months, and then David says, "What have I done to have the ark of the Lord with me?" And then Elizabeth says, "What have I done to have the mother of the Lord with me?" And then David dances because he's excited about being in the presence of the ark of the Lord. And then when Mary goes to Elizabeth's house, John the Baptist, who is in Elizabeth's stomach, dances for joy to have Mary, who is now the ark of the Lord, because she's basically holding the Lord inside of her, just like the ark holds, yeah, the word of God. And this is like the living incarnate word of God. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought that that was really cool. I thought that that was like she's carrying the living word, and John leaped for joy. I thought that was cute. I don't know, like those little small connections, they're so like, I mean, it's not really small. It's actually pretty prophetic, but it's nice to be able to be at a point where I'm able to make those connections.
Connection. Yep.
Growth. Now, what were you asking? You were asking. I think somebody asked, "How do we know?" Maybe they
Yeah, they were
explained.
asking. they were asking, how do we know Christianity is true? So he said, how do we know that Christianity is true? And I see Dead Man's response, which these are not bad things. These are all things that add up to it. He said first I look at its history and the reliability of the teaching and the practices, and they mean ultimately it's about the spirit. I just know, which this is also this is like a core piece of it. But let me show you something in the Bible. Jesus actually tells us why he's true. He tells us why we believe in him. He tells us why we should put our faith in him. He tells us why. Let me show you.
And Otis, I actually have Zach 12:10 for tonight. So
Me too.
that's a good one.
Let me show you. Okay, so if you go to Deuteronomy 13, because I'm answering this question here, where he says, how do we know that Christianity is true, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you look in Deuteronomy, right, and it's really throughout the whole Torah, but if you look at the law of Moses in Deuteronomy, it says, if a prophet or a dreamer of dreams arises among you and gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or wonder that he tells you comes to pass, and if he says, let us go after other gods which you have not known, and let us serve them, you should not listen to the words of that prophet or that dreamer of dreams. For the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul. You shall walk after the Lord your God and fear him and keep his commandments and obey his voice. And you shall serve him and hold fast to him. But that prophet or that dreamer of dreams shall be put to death, because he has taught rebellion against the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt and redeemed you out of the house of slavery, to make you leave the way in which the Lord your God commanded you to walk. So you shall purge the evil from your midst. Why is this so important? What he's saying here is that there's going to be people who do wonders. There's going to be people who do signs. There's going to be people who do things that you say, wow, this must be God. This must be from God. He must be sent from God. He must be God. He's telling us. He's already warning us. So Jesus is telling you that just because I am performing miracles does not mean I'm from God. Just because I'm healing the sick, healing the blind, healing the leprosy, doing all these works and wonders, does not mean I'm from God. You know why I'm from God? Do you want to know why you follow me? You know why I'm the truth? It's not because of the wonders, because you're going to be fooled. Because you're only after me as the Christ because you think I do good works. You think I do good deeds. You think I do
Like a
miracles.
magician.
Exactly. So you're only following me because the miracles I do, not because you think I'm truly your God. Right? This is what he tells us. Look, this is what he tells us. This is why Christianity is true. Jesus answered them saying, I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of them are you going to stone me? The Jews answered him, it is not for a good work that we are going to stone you, but for blasphemy, because you, being a man, make yourself God. Jesus answered them, is it not written in your law, I said ye are gods? What is he saying? Jesus is telling us, right? He's telling us, let me go to another verse real quick, just so you guys can see real quick. I got it pulled up. So keep that one in mind real quick. I got so many verses to pull up for you guys. I believe it was in Luke. My other ones. Yep. Okay. It was in Luke. That's what I thought. Luke. I'm pulling all up for you guys. Luke 24, 27. Okay, look. This is what Jesus is telling us. And taking the 12 to them, he said to them, see, we are going up to Jerusalem, and everything that is written about the Son of Man by the prophets will be accomplished. For he will be delivered over to the Gentiles, and he will be mocked and shamefully treated and spit upon. And after flogging him, they will kill him. And on the third day, he will rise. Here's this again. He keeps saying, he keeps telling us that it is written. That it is written. Prophets. It is written. Prophets. Here again. O foolish ones, slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter into his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them in all the scriptures of things that are concerning himself. Jesus is telling us why we believe in him. We believe in him because it was written about him. Remember, Jesus is the Word who became flesh. So he's telling us it's not about here, right? It's not about here where just because he performed signs, just because he performed wonders, just because he healed the blind, healed the sick, that's not the reason you believe in Christianity. You believe in Christianity because it was written about him before he came. And when he came, he fulfilled and performed every single thing that was concerning him, in the law of Moses, in the prophets, in the Psalms. Everything was written about him, was done. So what he's telling us, only a true God can actually prophesy. People are going to perform miracles. People are going to perform signs and wonders. You don't follow God because of the signs and wonders. You follow God because he's the only God that can actually prophesy. That's why you see in the Old Testament, he says, if they're true gods, let them prophesy and let it come to pass. Only God of the Bible can prophesy and it comes to pass.